I woke to the blanket sliding, the weight of unseen knees pressing the bed, and a warm breath curling at my ear. I prayed it was a dream, but what followed proved it was not. The night wrapped itself around me with a weight I couldn't explain. My body was tired, but my mind raced, alert to every sound, every shadow. I pulled the blanket tight against me, trying to create a barrier, but the air against my skin was alive, humming with something that didn't belong. My shirt had slipped, leaving a strip of bare skin exposed at my waist. It should have been nothing, yet when warmth brushed there, soft, deliberate, I knew I wasn't imagining it. I froze, eyes squeezed shut. The silence grew thicker, pressing on my chest, until all I could hear was my own frantic heartbeat. And then the mattress dipped, slow, careful, the way a person lowers themselves beside you, trying not to wake you. My stomach tightened as the truth hit me. I wasn't alone. The first touch was featherlight, gliding along my thigh. It lingered, tracing upward in a path too precise to dismiss. My breath hitched, my body stiffened, but I couldn't stop the shiver that ran through me. Goosebumps rose across my arms, each nerve raw and awake. I wanted to scream, but my lips refused to part, terrified of what answering the presence might unleash. The weight pressed closer, knees sank into the sheets, caging me in. Then came the breath, warm, steady, curling against my neck with a heat that sent sparks down my spine. My pulse stumbled, and shame burned hotter than the fear, because my body trembled not only in terror, but in something far more complicated. Fingers, if they were fingers, slid slowly across my hip, not a fleeting brush, a deliberate stroke. The air thickened with an intoxicating scent, earthy and sweet, pulling me deeper into its hold. I gripped the blanket until my nails dug into fabric, but the touch only grew bolder, drifting upward, pausing just beneath my ribs. The pause was worse than the motion itself, as though it waited for my reaction. "Please," I whispered, the word breaking in my throat. I couldn't even tell if I begged it to stop or not to. The whisper came next, not in words I could clearly hear, but in a sound that vibrated straight through me. The meaning was undeniable. Mine. My breath shattered into pieces. I wanted to resist, but my body betrayed me, leaning imperceptibly toward the warmth. The sheets beneath me tightened, holding me in place. The presence wasn't testing me anymore. It was savoring me. And just when I thought I couldn't take more, the re-hook arrived. The moment I believed nothing worse could happen. The blanket shifted, tugged by unseen hands, sliding lower, inch by inch. Cold air kissed my stomach, leaving me trembling as the weight at my back pressed closer still. The night wasn't haunting me. It was claiming me, and it had only just begun. The mattress sank deeper, the pressure unmistakable now, as if something had fully joined me in bed. My lungs fought for air, each inhale shallow and ragged, yet I couldn't force my body to move. Fear held me still, but beneath it something else thrummed, an ache I couldn't deny. The touch returned, firmer, tracing the line of my hip before sliding upward. My breath caught, my stomach tightening as the invisible hand paused just beneath my ribs. I whispered a broken no, but the sound barely left my lips before it was devoured by silence. The answer was another brush, more deliberate, more certain. My skin burned under its path. Goosebumps erupted along my arms, and my pulse hammered so violently I thought my chest would burst. Yet when the presence pressed closer, breath hot against my ear, my body betrayed me again. I shivered, not only from terror, but from the unbearable pull of its attention. The air grew heavy, with that intoxicating scent, earthy, sweet, overwhelming. I inhaled without meaning to, dizzy as it wrapped around me, clouding my thoughts. The silence buzzed, alive with the sense of being studied, savored. And then the whisper came again, low and vibrating straight through me. Mine. I clenched the blanket, nails biting into fabric, but it was already sliding lower, tugged by unseen force. Cold air swept across my stomach, leaving me exposed, trembling in the dark. My heart faltered, torn between resistance and surrender. The rehook struck sharp. The weight shifted higher, knees pressing deeper into the mattress, caging me completely. Heat hovered just above my lips, close enough to taste the air it exhaled. My eyes squeezed shut, bracing for contact that would shatter me. But the moment stretched, unbearably long, as though it wanted me to beg. I whispered, "Please." The word cracked and desperate, but I couldn't tell if it was plea or invitation. My chest heaved, every shallow breath feeding its claim. The presence lingered, savoring my helplessness, its breath curling against my skin like a promise. Then the lamp flickered, once, twice. A weak glow spread across the room, trembling shadows stretching along the walls. For the briefest instant I saw it, a shape leaning over me, darker than the darkness, bending closer. My heart lurched, my breath caught, and before I could react, the light snapped out. The room collapsed into suffocating black. The mattress groaned under the weight, and I realized the worst had not yet happened. The night wasn't finished with me. The room collapsed into silence so heavy it rang in my ears. My chest rose and fell in shallow bursts, lungs fighting for air that no longer felt like mine. The mattress pressed down harder, as though the presence was settling fully over me, sealing me in place. The touch returned, no longer hesitant. Invisible fingers slid across my stomach, tracing deliberate lines that made my skin burn. I jerked slightly, but the unseen weight held me firm, savoring every tremor of resistance. My hands clawed at the sheets, desperate for control, but the blanket had already slipped too far. Cold air swept across me, and shame seared hotter than the fear itself. A breath curled against my ear, hotter, steadier, thick with intent. My lips parted involuntarily, and in the suffocating silence the whisper came again. Mine. The word vibrated through me, a soundless command I couldn't escape. My body arched without permission, betraying me in the cruelest way. I whispered "stop" into the dark, but even to my own ears the word cracked, uncertain, trembling between refusal and surrender. The presence didn't answer with words, it answered with action. The weight pressed harder, lowering until I could feel the heat hovering just above my lips. I thought it was over. I thought it would claim me completely. But then it vanished. The warmth dissolved, the weight lifted, the scent faded all at once, leaving me gasping as if dragged back from drowning. I sat frozen, chest heaving, eyes darting through the dark room. The dresser, the chair, the curtain, all still, all ordinary. And then I saw them, two deep indentations at the foot of the bed, knees, pressed firm into the blanket. My breath stuttered, my throat tightened, and I couldn't move. I could only watch as the marks dragged forward, inch by inch, creeping toward me. My body locked in terror, my pulse hammering so loud it drowned out every thought. I braced for the moment they would reach me, for the weight to pin me once more. But just before the indentations touched my legs, they vanished. The blanket smoothed, as though nothing had disturbed it at all. The silence roared back, thicker than before, and in that suffocating stillness I understood. It hadn't left me. It never would. Even now, every night I close my eyes. I wait for the heat of that breath, the slide of unseen hands, the whisper curling against my ear. Because once something claims you like this, you never sleep alone again. Have you ever felt something brush against you in the dark? Share your story in the comments. I want to hear it. Don't forget to subscribe to Paranormal Sleep for more chilling midnight encounters, because the next story might be yours.